I find the co-working space at Ludgate really suits me as I can get that work-life balance by coming to Ludgate Hub to do my work on a daily basis. I find the commute really useful because it gives me that time before work to prepare for my day. Also, it has given me the opportunity to work in West Cork and live in West Cork, which I wouldn't have had previously. I find there's great support here in the hub, IT support, and there's a lot of facilities that suit me. The greatest benefit of being a member here at the Ludgate Hub is the IT support and the broadband facility here. I find the internet is quite fast and it suits my needs for work as everything's happening at a fast pace these days. I also find there's a printing facility that suits me and scanner facility. So that's probably one of the most useful entities for me and for the work I do. I suppose that would be the coffee machine. It kind of keeps me productive as well. And especially, I do a lot of travel with work. So I find that's a great facility, and the coffee is so good here. So I do enjoy that. And you get a lot of support from other people in the hub. Katie is very supportive, as is Gavin, as is Elma in the hub here. So they're running a great facility. They also, on sustainability weeks and such like, they have networking facilities and they have a lot of talks on for youth groups and school children. I find this is really good because it connects with the outer world in that respect.
Yeah, hi, my name is Fabian Ward. I'm the manager here at O'Neill's Coffee. We were established in 2017, so not that long after Ludgate first opened its doors here on Townsend Street. So they're not that far away, they're only a couple of doors up across the road. So we are like an extension of the workspace itself. It's as if they've outsourced their coffee shop to us across the road. So instead of the lads gathering around maybe their own coffee machine across there, you're able to get away, come across here, have a coffee, have a chat. Quite often have a fairly informal meeting with some of their colleagues, or even meet them here first, have a coffee, and then get into the nitty gritty of what they're actually discussing across the road. So for me, I think it's a brilliant way that they have integrated the community into the hub and made it a part of the space. So the space isn't just the physical building, the space for Ludgate is literally the whole town. So that when they are bringing in guests or they've got clients that are using the space, the access to the town is part of access to the hub. So it's not just four walls and a computer screen with access to the internet. For a lot of people, the reasons why they want to work remotely or the different things that they're going to need from a remote working hub are going to be very, very different. I am somebody that commuted every day for 8 years up and down to Cork City, which is 50 miles away. It took me 8 years to realize how unsustainable that was. So for me, I'm not working directly with Ludgate, but working across the road here now, I have a 5 minute commute from my house. Compare that to the hour 20 minutes that I was doing previously twice a day. That's my reason for working in Skibbereen. For other people, they can work remotely. You cannot make coffee remotely just yet, so it's not going to happen. But this is as good as it gets for me on my personal journey to why I'm here in Skibbereen. For other people, they want to come to the town so that they're out in the countryside. It might be that they don't want to do the commute anymore. It could be closer to family. It could be that they don't like living in a city. Not everybody does. As well as having that access to the business community in Ludgate, you are accessing the rural community that is Skibbereen. Tying that all in together is what I've seen happen over the last 8 or 10 years that Ludgate have been in the town. They genuinely have bought into being part of the Chamber of Commerce. Any events that are going on, they're helping and organising, say, the St. Patrick's Day parades. There are way too many for me to list out, and way too many people that are in Ludgate for me to say, oh yeah, X does this or Y does that. They're all very, very helpful and genuinely offering spaces for people to come together outside of what we would see as just economically or sustainable from that point of view. It is a community, and it's bringing that all together that has seen the town go from somewhere where people were kind of going, I'd love to go and work somewhere else, to people wanting to come back and make this a place to be and a place to work. Like, so it not just being the four walls of the building, it's connected to the community. I mean, we'd often have people that have been there for a little bit of time, they're renting somewhere now, they need somebody to fix a window or a door, and they're asking who's a plumber that we could use or who's an electrician. So, we have that information. They're able to access that, and that's what's building the community and making it a more sustainable thing in the longer run. If you take it in isolation, a desk is a desk. But if you're trying to build that sense of community, this is the way to do it. And I think the more it's done and the more people that buy into it, the more sustainable it becomes. And why would we do anything that's unsustainable?
My name's Maria Driscoll. I work for Special Olympics Ireland in the role of Regional Development Officer for Munster clubs. So helping the clubs that are already there and helping start new clubs. Special Olympics Ireland is a sports organisation for people with an intellectual disability. We cater from 4 years old to no upper age limit. We run clubs through services, schools, and then community clubs. So my introduction to Ludgate through Special Olympics Ireland was when I was trying to find a venue for a meeting to start a new club in Skibbereen. And I was put in touch with Elma, and Elma happily accommodated the meeting. We had maybe 20 people there. And now that was in October, and 6-7 months down the line, the new club will be starting in Skibbereen. And we also hosted another volunteer night that people could come in and we'd help them with their volunteer process, any questions they were having. Very fortunate to have a space like this and hugely beneficial to the community. It's somewhere central, it's accessible, and always accommodated me with when I had to change a date. There was no issues with that. And I'm very grateful to have the facility available to ourselves. And I know in the future that the West Cork Warriors, the new Special Olympics club, have been offered the opportunity to host any meetings there, whether it's their AGM or any meetings with parents, guardians, volunteers and athletes. West Cork Warriors will be the new Special Olympics club in West Cork. It's the first young athlete club in West Cork.
So I'm Oliver Farrell, and as you say, I have been involved in Ludgate from the very beginning. I was a founder member on the board here. And thoroughly enjoyed that project. So we saw the need back then for a place where people could co-work. Essentially, it was a relatively new concept at the time. And personally, I was after moving to West Cork and was working from home remotely and finding that quite isolating. I was drawn to the whole concept of Ludgate and that working from a base together. I actually blend my work. I work from the hub here, but I also work from home. And with my new venture, which is based around the biodiversity parkland, I'm fortunate to be out working on the hill as well and in this beautiful eco park. But what I find is both for human interaction and to simulate the mind, but also when I need a bit of structure and discipline, I find that having the access to the hub and being able to come in here to my desk, that really helps me in that style of work. The greatest benefit, I guess, is the connection. So to be both the connection, but the physical while you're in here, so you're beside people, you're exchanging ideas, but also that connection that you're connected within the community. So while you may all be working on your own individual jobs and in your own businesses, that there's a connection locally too, that you're all working together from West Cork. And that connection then also brings networking benefits where you can link with people who are able to offer services between businesses and generally support each other. So I would tend to use all the amenities here. I obviously have my desk and then I make use of the meeting rooms. I'm involved in some not-for-profit organisations around the town and we're able to come in here and use the space for our meetings. But personally, I guess I'm very fond of my cup of tea and I love the space that is the kitchen and the interaction and networking that happens while there. And respect for the lucky dip that is the cookie jar, which can sometimes accompany the cup of tea.
I much prefer working in a co-working space like Ludgate because it allows me to separate my work life to my personal life a lot more clearly. You know, when you're working from home, it's very easy to get distracted and you can feel isolated. Whereas in Ludgate, you're surrounded by other professionals and there's a real sense of energy here, which keeps you focused, but also really motivated. Definitely one of the greatest benefits of working in Ludgate is the community here. I've built a lot of relationships with other professionals, whereas I probably wouldn't have had that access or opportunity when working remotely. When there is such a vast array of businesses here, it lets you skill share and collaborate, and very organically as well. It might just be over a cup of coffee in the kitchen. But also it's the high speed connectivity here, which is really reliable. I work for a software company and we have our support team based here, so it's really important that we're reachable, and we need consistent access to online tools to do the job. So that's definitely the greatest benefit for us. It also builds a lot of trust in the business to hire in a remote area like Skibbereen, and when we can have this availability. So that's been huge, to kind of have the opportunity to grow a career in the tech industry while still being able to live in a rural area. Well, obviously I use the kitchen daily, which is a great space for networking, like I said, in a more kind of organic way with other businesses. But the meeting rooms are really important for us because we'll facilitate team meetings and we have access to monitors, whiteboards, lots of other tools to make it really productive. I would book meeting rooms regularly for one-to-ones with my clients, which is brilliant because you need privacy, and also it's in a really professional designed space where it can give a really good impression when you're talking to clients. Also things like printer or copier, things that make tasks that would be difficult to do at home very easy.
Hi, my name is Dominic Casey and my business is called Marsh Media. And Marsh Media was set up about 2 years ago, and we concentrate on providing marketing services to credit unions and credit union related services across Ireland. So when I began Marsh Media, I started by working from home, and I thought I'd absolutely love it. But after about 6 months, I realized, geez, I hated the isolation of it. So I came to Ludgate on a test for a couple of days and absolutely loved it, and decided to hire out a desk almost within the first week, and I've been here since. Since I started in Ludgate, the business has been going really well and we've grown a little bit, and I'm delighted now to have Matthew Crowley joining us here full time, and he also has a desk here in Ludgate, so it's become our HQ, if you like. For me, I think working here in Ludgate is definitely that sort of group around you and being part of a bigger organisation in a way, having the coffee break and a chat with someone sitting beside you, just seeing how other businesses are growing and working. It's just a very rich environment to grow in, I think, and a really positive atmosphere inside here. And that's why we really like working inside. For us, I guess, the services we use the most inside here are terrific broadband speeds. So for connectivity, it's excellent. But also having the ability to hire out a room for meetings. So for bringing clients in, you have a nice office space to bring them into, private, with all sorts of the Wi-Fi and connectivity that you require. So you can also do a webinar or host a video call. The other thing that we really find great, myself and Matthew, are coming down to the guest speakers that are talking here in Ludgate from time to time. Another great opportunity to meet and network and find out new tips and tricks to help grow your business.
My name is Ruth Field. I'm third generation here in Field, Super Valley and Skibbereen, where I work with my husband Adam and my father John. So many positive impacts. I grew up in Skibbereen, born and reared across the road, and when I was growing up, there was never an option to come back and live in Skibbereen. You always had to go to work, so you had to go to Cork, Dublin, London, America, wherever it was, Australia. You never really had the option to come back and work in Skibbereen. Very few people did. Now, places like Ludgate afford that opportunity to young people, so it's bringing young people back into West Cork, and that's really one of the most important things. So no matter what their business is, no matter what their area they work in, they have the opportunity to come back here and live and work in places like Skibbereen. Our hinterland is so beautiful. Skibbereen is just the centre town. It's the anchor tenant, I always say, to all the other areas like Castlehaven, Union Hall, Lepp, Glandore, Baltimore, Skull, Misenhead, all those beautiful places were really kind of underpopulated for a long time because people couldn't live and work here unless you worked in probably farming or a number of other industries like that. Now, the world is their oyster. They can do any business from West Cork. And so what we see now is a lot of young people coming back here, building on family land or affording houses that they couldn't afford maybe in Dublin or Cork or London or wherever, and they're living back in the community here. And I think that's one of the biggest pluses of places like Ludgate, is encouraging young people to come back and live and grow, because we need young people. We have to have people with families and children, and all that's so important to maintain a vibrant community in Skibbereen, and that's why Skibbereen is thriving. It's because of places like Ludgate. Another massive reason is skilled workers coming back to work in Skibbereen, which is lovely, and you have a cross-pollination of ideas. So, for example, We never had filmmaking here. We now have a film studio out the road. That's all kind of come about because of Ludgate indirectly. And so we have films being made, which of course is good for everyone because they're a completely different kind of microeconomy to what Skibbereen would traditionally have been. And of course, the upside of all of this for us is that we have more customers, and we also have more cosmopolitan customers. So we get to try out stuff that maybe other supermarkets don't carry because people are looking for different things like sushi or sake wine or all sorts of exciting produce, and all of it right here in Skibbereen, which, if we remember, is a tiny town with a population of probably about 3,000 people, but it's the hinterland that makes it so rich. And Skib is just lucky it's at the centre of all that.
My name is Don Colbert and I work with Fáilte Ireland. I work on the Wild Atlantic Way team, and I cover West Cork and Kenmare for the team working with tourism businesses. Co-working spaces are really a fantastic asset for all types of businesses, but they particularly support tourism businesses in that they give many tourism businesses are small one-person businesses, and they may not have an administration area. Also, they tend to work on their own quite a bit, or they may be with visitors, but they don't have necessarily always their own co-workers either. And going to work in a co-working space means that you meet other like-minded people or people who can actually support your business. So that kind of networking in a casual way with other businesses, talking about what you do, learning about what others do is very useful to businesses because they can then take that information away and build partnerships, build collaborations with other businesses as well. A lot of my work in my current role and in previous roles has been in the area of rural development, so I'd be more familiar with that space. And certainly co-working spaces are important from a business perspective, from having a place to do your administration, do your meetings, and maybe hold conferences, small conferences and events maybe as well. But it's building that entire community, that opportunity to build relationships and build partnerships with other local businesses. That's essential to tourism development and to regional development, because it's in working together and understanding the needs of others and explaining your needs and your specific requirements that support your business that people can actually come together. It's in person as well, which is so important. Many of us have a way of working remotely now, but in actual fact, there are times when people need to come together to work together, and that's where energy sparks and ideas come from that as well. Certainly, as an organisation ourselves, we've used the Ludgate here on a number of occasions, and it's for us it's quite central. It's in a great location, and it allows businesses from our geography that we work in to travel. It's kind of equidistant from the furthest away parts of it. So we use it as a meeting space. We use it for networking and events. We really appreciate the high level of audiovisual equipment, and the staff are always fantastic to work with and so helpful. So I think any business that wants to have a meeting space, meet with others, do brainstorming sessions, networking sessions, and just use the technology would just benefit hugely from a space like Ludgate.
Well, I suppose the co-working industry has been around a very, very long time at this point. So it's been around since the 90s, essentially. So shared services have been around that period of time. But the word co-working itself kind of came out in 2005 in San Francisco. Here in Cork, we've seen it since 2017, and the industry is only going from strength to strength. I suppose offering an environment or a professional environment for flexible workers is hugely important these days, because the world is so connected. Gone are the days that you have to jump on a plane and move to London or go to Dublin for the big job. You can stay right here in your city or your local town, because having these spaces are so vital. You can walk and talk. We're in our grow room. Some of our biggest customers would be the multinationals. They love the idea of coming in here, getting your local coffee shop to provide scones, croissants, the teas and coffees, all that kind of stuff, catering to the meeting room itself. So you have space for 22 people inside here. So the ability to do that off-site strategy day is huge. So companies like Johnson Controls that are just around the corner come over here, they turn off the phone, they set the out of office and come into the space just to collaborate, to rub shoulders and to be outside of the office. It's hugely important. Down the hall here, we've got our event space and our hot desk area. So we have a full suite of meeting rooms that can cater from 4 people right up to 10 people. We have a broadcasting studio partnered with News Talk and Today FM. So we had Jonathan Healy here this morning in for Pat Kenny covering the show. Down the end of the hall, we've got our multi-use hybrid space. which is our hot desk area and our event space, which I'll take you in here now. So you probably recognize this from social media. So you have 100-inch screen on the stage. You have the ability to do that hybrid event where you have 40 people seated and 100 people online. We've space for about 50, 60 people in this room. We've call booths over here in the corner. And I suppose our biggest innovation during COVID was we put all our desks on wheels. So we move everything out of the way and we can bring our seats into the space here and create that event space by night. So it's a really dynamic type of environment. So this is our hot desk area. So we have two spaces. We've got a hot desk plus and a dedicated desk area. So the separation here is, look, the idea of having access to more call booths. The big red one here on the right hand side is a bookable booth. You've got high back chairs here and everybody has a unique and individual seating area. You have access to printing facilities, so again shared services. Everybody is given a unique code and they get 100 free prints per month. Around the corner here you've got your sit-stand desks, so everybody has their own dedicated desk. You can bring in your screens, your monitors, you get your own pedestal, and the idea here is that you can bring the picture of the family or the dog or the kitten and put it on your own desk. So this is your own space. So we have space for 55 members here. We're currently at full capacity, which is fantastic, and some very unusual and unique type of companies using the space inside here. Some have been acquired by ticketing companies such as Disney and some smaller organisations. We've got a number of architects, graphic designers, freelancers, all using space inside here as well. For a lounge. So our accountant used to give out to us quite a lot way back in the day. He's like, we need more desks inside here. And I'm like, absolutely not. That ruins the whole dynamic of Republic of Work. So what we want to do here is we want to have the rubbing of shoulders, the water cooler conversations, and through our partnerships with Nespresso, we can do exactly that. So the idea of companies and members coming in here who mightn't cross paths in a normal day-to-day or in a normal work environment, whereas in this space you have the ability to have those chats, have those conversations over in the space over here in the Nespresso dock. To really send the point home with this one, right, I can give you an example. So we would have hosted an event, part of co-working. We have a big side of our business, which is the events and meeting rooms and the podcasts and all that type of stuff, but in particular the events. So we hosted an event here a couple of weeks ago. It was a rail event. So we had Irish Rail, UK Rail and Scottish Rail. We had 95 people attend the event, and of the 95, 60 people flew in from overseas. So one in particular came from Dubai. We had guys come in from Manchester, London and Liverpool, and of course Scotland as well. So the impact that would make would be, okay, the flights alone coming into the city, your taxi fare or your bus into the city, your overnight stay in a hotel, your food and beverage for the day and the night. So from that perspective alone, and that's just talking about one singular event, not to mind the members that we have here on a day-to-day basis. So the beauty of being here in the city is you have access to such nice coffee shops, restaurants, and options and choices. Like you have the English market across the road, huge impact in terms of regional development.
My name is Aoife Dean. My business is Happy Weight. So I'm a dietitian. I work one-to-one with clients with disordered eating. So they could be undereaters or overeaters or have weight issues. And I also have a podcast, the Happy Weight podcast. There's loads of benefits to being your own boss and being self-employed. But I suppose one of the downsides would be not having a load of colleagues. And so I basically love co-working spaces because my attention span is better once I can have the crack with other people and tea breaks, and then I can go back and do my work better, I feel. I've been using Ludgate since 2016, so that's 9 years now. So there's actually an unbelievable list of things I've got from Ludgate. Friends to begin with is a big one. I've had lots of different help with my business over the years, mainly just from asking other people in here about stuff or just like chit chat and hearing software they use or things like that. So that's been a big help. And I think those are the two main things actually, just the community and then the added little bonuses, tidbits and advice and stuff that I use in my own business. And I suppose there's a lot of like events and fun things organized as well over the years. So I've really enjoyed them. Obviously the desk and the big main room, it's really great to be working in a work environment where everyone else is working as well. It just rubs off on you. And then, definitely the kitchen and the coffee machine and all the social areas and social events.
Culture Co-working was founded in 2018. We have two locations, one in the Marina and one in the city centre of Cork. I suppose our main focus really is on community and flexibility. That's why we provide 24/7 access. A co-working space is only as good as a community it has. And we've developed a very nice, strong community over the last 6 years. And that is where the energy, the enthusiasm comes from. Once you have a good community, we strive to be friendly, warm, and professional. And we have that community there. They reinforce our values. And the reason we picked culture is that culture is for everybody. And we want to have a nice culture, that we believe there's a way that you provide a nice place to work with nice people. Everybody benefits, everybody thrives from it. We've had some success stories in terms of some companies have gone on to raise over 50 million euros in funding. Others have raised 3 or 4 million. We have one member who's pitching at a technology conference in Barcelona at the moment. They're going to be launching a product, Irish product, the first of its kind. They're growing. We see the number of people who've been hired by companies that we start off maybe at 1 member, then 2 members, 3 members, 4 members. It's the growth we see in the numbers. We see how companies develop that. They use us as the initial point. They start with a desk, maybe a small office in the country. And as the business develops from here, they add more people. We have members that have gone from small offices into bigger offices in the city. So it's fantastic growth. And it's hard for us to quantify how much revenue that we've seen or how much employment, but we know we have over 100 members. But then at the same time, one day last week, we had 50 plus people in our meeting rooms who weren't members. So we're also not just focusing on for profits. We have 3 or 4 social enterprises in the space now, and they're growing. And the funds they're managing, one is managing 100 million euro funds. So that's the impact that we have, that we're working with these people, not just on the for-profit side, social enterprise, where everybody is benefiting from what these organizations are doing. And we feel culture has a role in that, to not just help businesses develop, but help society and the economy as a whole improve. It's been fantastic for us, really. And what I've seen, how culture has grown, it's been a massive plus for us, where it's helped lift people's awareness of the marina. The marina is kind of in the city centre, but not in the city. So you walk outside our door, you turn left, you're walking down the marina into this lovely area where there's walks and running areas, and it's fantastic and really beautiful, relaxing. But you go out the right and you're straight into the marina market, where you have 15, 20 different stalls and food from all over the world. It's a meeting place. It's a destination in the city. So for us to be right next to a destination, it has a huge impact on us. And even for members, where do you say we go for lunch? Next door. What would you like? We know the stalls. We know the people in there. We can recommend what we've tried ourselves. And I think the whole area, like this park and the commercial park, everything we need to run this business is here. And that's the thing which we hadn't realized till we came in. But the potential, there's so much going on in this park. I think it's as or even more people working here now than the heyday of the Ford and Dunlop days. So for the area, it's fantastic. And yes, I kind of looked at the marina, I thought it was going to develop. I got lucky. I suppose the biggest challenge is really, it's just the awareness. You hear about people saying we're bringing people back to the office. And people get afraid of that. They think, oh, we're going to be dragged into the office. But it's much more nuanced than that. So it may mean the office as a co-working space. It's not meaning going back into the traditional 10,000, 20,000 square feet office that people had before. It's just they want people in an area where they can meet up and engage with their other colleagues. And this is what we provide here. So we're seeing more weekly meetups, monthly meetups. Challenges I don't see too much, because it's a growing business. It's a growing industry. If you want to talk about challenges, COVID was a challenge. So we survived that. Everything else is much more manageable. And we've become well known. For the first couple of years, I spent telling people what I did. Now I say co-working. People have an idea. They may not know the exact details. And that could be a challenge, is making sure we get out to people that what we offer, that no matter what you are, what size company, what you do, or where you're from, we probably have a solution for you, or other hubs have a solution for you. And we will work with you. I think other people have an image of that it's full of ping-pong tables and too cool. It's not, particularly culture. Most of our people are 35 plus, they have young families. It's just, we provide a place for them to go to work, and we try and make their lives a bit easier. And that's what we need to get out, and that's the challenge. So people realize co-working is for everybody. It's fantastic. It really is. Just seeing how it's grown in the last 2 to 3 years, and meeting all the other hubs, people like Liam Horn and Stephen and the other Leah, the other people in the organisation, and then working with Baseworks, which I think are based down in Ludgate. They're fantastic. To meet the other hubs, to share the ideas, and also have the scale and the support that we're getting from Connected Hubs ourselves. And we use it, and they're so willing to help. It's fantastic. And one thing I discovered, everybody in the Connected Hubs program, they're all doing it for the right reasons. They're all very nice people. They're all invested in their community and their local area. They want to develop their hubs to the highest standard, and they want to help their members and help their members to grow. So Connected Hubs has been a fantastic idea, and I'm not surprised that other countries are looking at how it's being run and seeing how we can do it. I think it's going to be hard to replicate because the people we have here, both in the hubs and the organisation, are a very special group of people. And to see from where it started to where it is now, it's just been a fantastic journey, and I'm delighted to be involved in it. Where I think they will be, they are going to be a key part of the workforce for both employees and the employers. What we are seeing is that there's a huge desire for choice, particularly for the generation that's coming up, the next generation of millennials, that they want to be able to work somewhere that gives them the flexibility that they require. Companies also want the same thing. Companies after COVID don't want to be tied into long-term leases or maybe have too much space that they don't need. They want to have enough space in a right environment for where their people will be happy to work. This is where co-working comes in. We are the bridge between both parties in the sense that you can come into us, you have all the facilities of all the co-working spaces, all the offices that you need. We provide a warm, professional and friendly environment. The company only pays for what they need, or your employees only pay for what they need. You can scale up, scale down, depending on how much you need. We also provide a community, the social interaction, and there's cross-business. So you get a chance to learn from your other co-workers, develop opportunities, build connections, see if your company can supply another company, but you're getting so much part of it, so much from being in a co-working space that it is going to be a significant part of the future as it is already. They are a massive part of regional development. We've already seen many regions and particularly local communities looking to set up their own hub or some space along the lines of a co-working space. It brings people to these areas. Ireland is a fantastic country. We have some wonderful scenery, high quality of life, particularly outside the cities. These hubs allow the regions to showcase what they offer. And as well as attracting new people into the areas, it highlights what's in the area for people already. It can keep people there. It can develop local businesses. If you keep people in the regions, that money stays in the regions. It supports all the other industries in the town or village. This is it's a key part, I think, of any future governmental plans or any local organisations. We have a wonderful country, wonderful quality of life. Let's use hubs to develop this for the regions.
My name is Victoria McCormack and I am the community facilitator at Grow Remote. Grow Remote is a social enterprise here to solve the problems of remote work to unlock social, economic and environmental impact for individuals, employers and local communities. I see the future of remote work as being incredibly bright. As someone who has had the pleasure to work remotely for over a decade, I've been able to observe the evolution of remote work, and it is amazing to see that the support and infrastructure that Ireland is providing will really allow people to thrive, whether they're fully remote, hybrid, and give them that flexibility to live without a location being a worry. Co-working spaces play an incredible vital role with supporting those that maybe have challenges with remote work, bringing the community together and supporting local businesses and stopping people from having to commute and really spending that money locally. The establishment of connected hubs is really a comprehensive network of remote working spaces and really provides an EU benchmark of infrastructure through the digital hub strategy and really allows Ireland to be leading the way for remote work. Co-working spaces like Ludgate provide so many benefits. I have a huge list that they provide. There are opportunities to connect naturally with others living locally, working remotely, combating that feeling of perhaps loneliness or social isolation. They offer businesses to come together, learn how each other are working, offering training and support, developing the skills in the local area. Like they provide support to an individual as an employee, to employers, businesses, and also bringing the community together and going even outside of the hub to help that community. The Connected Hubs network deserves tremendous credit for its vision in creating this infrastructure ahead of the curve. Their foresight has positioned Ireland as a leader in remote work and supporting exactly at the right moment as distributed work becomes the new normal.
Yeah, I'm Damiano. I'm a principal ecologist working for ACOM, and I'm based here at the Ludgate Hub. Well, working from home is nice. I think you can get very distracted though with things around you and things that need doing. We've got 2 little ones as well at home, which make it quite difficult at times to concentrate and focus on what's needed regarding work. So Ludgate, offers me the opportunity to work away from home without having to travel to my Cork office, which would take about 3 hours out of my day driving. So it just gives me the opportunity to have more time for home, but also then focus better on work. It's great. You've got your own desk, you've got your monitors. I tend to have quite a lot of windows open, so it's important to me to have like 1 or 2 extra monitors, which is an option here. I like the facilities. You've got your coffee making facilities, and you can have your lunch. We got a little breakout area here where members usually just come together to have a chat, which I enjoy as well. I also like there's kind of a sense of camaraderie where people are quite interested in what each of us are doing. So you get into talks, into chats about that. Activities that we do are also enjoyable. We have a sort of weekly swimming/running group, which is sort of important to clear your head and get away from the desk. I very much enjoy the running and walking challenge that we had going on earlier this year as well. Again, sort of gives you that opportunity to do things aside from work and create a sense of community. And everyone here is just really nice. I've got only positive experiences. Constantly use the Wi-Fi, so my work's very much dependent on having good internet connection and fast as well, because I tend to work with quite large amounts of data. So that's really valuable. Always got my phone connected to the network as well, which is great. Another important thing for me is the meeting rooms, because I've got quite regular meetings to keep in touch with my work team and to catch up with clients as well. They're all very much an integral part of my day-to-day life at the Hub.
My name is Sinead O'Riordan, and I am Head of Partnerships at the SkillNet Innovation Exchange. So I think co-working hubs are crucial in fostering collaboration, and we see this with Ludgate as well as many other co-working hubs that we work with. So often you have 1 or 2 founders in a startup or a scale-up. So it's really good for them to find collaborators and other like-minded people who are entrepreneurs, who are innovators, and that really helps with the collaboration. And so in terms of the co-working hub itself, like Ludgate, it fosters a culture of openness. These businesses, they can share ideas, they can share contacts, they can learn from each other and really get access into a local ecosystem and a national ecosystem. So in terms of enabling business growth, there is a lot of value to having a physical space. We all know the value of a virtual office to be able to work anywhere. Sometimes it's important to actually go out and sit and meet people in offices. So co-working hubs have offices, they have facilities, and the upfront costs are much lower than having their own office. And there's also a social element to this. So that sharing of ideas, that, networking, that shared learning is all really important. There's a lot of access to resources. So there's events, training. The SkillNet Innovation Exchange, we bring training to Ludgate. We bring events where we're bringing advisors and experienced entrepreneurs to the hubs, which will bring a lot of information and connections to the local area. There's also things like mentorship, funding opportunities, if investors or VCs are attending the hubs from time to time. So, hubs like Ludgate often serve as the first base for small businesses looking to expand beyond the locality. And it really does create a stepping stone to more national, and even international visibility. Well, just to say that regional engagement is a core part of the innovation exchange strategy, and hubs like Ludgate enable access to the network within the Greater Cork region. So it allows us to bring the programme into the region and indeed all around the country. I suppose what ourselves and Ludgate work towards is creating a climate to foster entrepreneurial culture in hubs. So startups, they're agile and they need kind of encouragement and supports to be able to drive that whole entrepreneurial, innovative mindset. So it's important to support companies, startups and scale-ups with new ideas, with emerging technologies, and with some great potential for growth. What you also see in co-working hubs is kind of an emergence of specialities. I certainly know in Ludgate there is a focus on green tech. We see that kind of more and more in the co-working hubs, also digitalization or even creative industries. Micro clusters could feed into more national innovation strategies. And, we do see that the government want to support co-working spaces to be able to drive entrepreneurship, drive the digital skills and sustainability agenda, and of course, economic development. Embedded support programs are important. So with the SkillNet mandate, we help build capacity for SMEs, and we bring sessions to the hub on commercialization, fundraising, we do training in sales and marketing, we give direct access to industry experts and advisors through our roadshows that we will bring to Ludgate. What we do as a program is we create visibility for SMEs. So the SME can get in front of a large company if they become a member of the Innovation Exchange, and they can pitch their business, their solution to some of the largest Irish Indigenous companies and also to multinationals. So we would have the likes of Ryanair, Glanbia, Icon, being able to leverage Ludgate as one of our partners, our partner in the Greater Cork region, allows us to bring the programme to companies in the region. It's really important, as I mentioned, to have regional involvement for the programme, and Ludgate has been a very important partner to us for the past 2 years as we've rolled out the Innovation Exchange programme around the country.
So I'm Graham Clark, co-founder and CEO of Baseworks. We're a flex-based management software. And part of our team are based here in the Ludgate, and our other team are based out of Crewe and Galway. That answer will change on a daily basis. I suppose being in the world of flex-based and building software to service the market, my preference for coming into Ludgate will be dependent on the day, basically. Some days it does suit me just to work from home, calls and things like that. Sometimes it's better off just to leave the slippers on, turn on the laptop, do a bit of work there. And sometimes it's nice to just get out of the house and come in and get some focus work, throw the headphones on, but also have that, that communal engagement, have people around you. The Ludgate's a great place for me anyway, personally, to mix it up, and decide, have that flexibility that we've built into the business, and I suppose take advantage of that. But obviously for professional reasons as well, it's very important that for us, for myself and my team, that we work from co-working spaces, and the Ludgate is a great living example that I consistently use, shape the product and take real world instances that we can build into the product. For me, I suppose it's the pieces I can take away and put into the product, the interactions with the people, the understanding the behaviours, is one side of it. But then from a personal perspective, I do like the communal aspect here. The Ludgate team have done a wonderful job of creating a really welcoming environment professional environment as well. Yeah, it's just a human engagement, I suppose, really overall, and just a good place to go and get some work done. I tend to take advantage of the whole suite, if I'm honest. We use the meeting rooms quite a bit. The events are great here. The bake-offs, like last week, were a bit of fun. Kitchen areas, it's great to have lunch with people, especially when a lot of the time you can end up having it on your own when you work from home. The location is great as well. To be in town, be able to pop out, grab a coffee with somebody, and again, I suppose we go swimming on a Wednesday, which I absolutely love. Gang of us get together there and go have a dip in Lough, which is not a lot of co-working spaces have that on their doorstep. So yeah, lots of great benefits here in Ludgate. My name is Martin O'Donoghue. I'm from Cork, and I'm Ireland's only place strategist, and that's a makey up term. I've been playing with this new job title, this new way of working for about the last 3 years. My actual regular job is as head of play development for Let's Play Cork. So I work 3 days a week for Let's Play Cork, and my role is to work with and collaborate with organisations to make Cork City and County the most playful place in the world. I moved to Union Hall 6 months ago. I was asked to set up Let's Play Skibbereen, so to trial play and playfulness in public spaces with the community that live and interact with Skibbereen. When I set up my company, playstrategist.com, I was living in a rural part of County Limerick. We were one of the highest houses in Limerick. Limerick's a pretty flat county, but we were at the top of it. What I do is very different, and not a lot of people get it. We have small kids, so I had to work from home, and it was my first time working for myself from home, and I found it very isolating. And then we were looking to move to West Cork, and fortunately we made the move. And I had been on holidays here for the last couple of summers with my family, and because I work for myself, a chunk of time off is rare. So I used to come into Ludgate once a week maybe, just to check email or respond to the bits and pieces of work while I was on holidays. So we spent a month in Union Hall, and then I'd be maybe a day a week in the Ludgate, and that was my first experience of it, and found it really welcoming. The atmosphere was really warm. The space is very cool. It's considered. People who designed it thought about what one might need in terms of space and place and light. People who work there are really welcoming and open, and it just resonated with me. So when I moved here, the first thing I did was I came in to see Elma, and I said, I want to become a member. And she introduced me to Katie. So the very first thing I did was take out a membership, because I was like, this is where I want to work. And I didn't know any of the other people who work there. And over the last 6 months, I've got to know that community of like-minded people who either work for themselves or work for a big company, but work by themselves. I've talked about the intangibles, feeling you get from the space. But in terms of kind of tangible benefits, I love the outside wall project, like genius. There's big meeting space, and I love bringing people in who've never been there before, and they're like, I always wondered what was going on in here. So like with Let's Play Skibbereen, I've used the big event centre as a place to train play leaders, to show them what I do so that they can do it too.
My name is Stephen Carlin. I work for the Western Development Commission. So we're a government agency based out of the west of Ireland. Our remit is the economic and social development of the West region, and I'm working on the Connected Hubs programme. I'm leading that project. It's a nationwide. It's the first time we've had a nationwide project, so rolling that out across the country, which is essentially a network of co-working enterprise hubs and community and enterprise hubs all across the country. I joined in 2019. I joined the Western Development Commission. I worked for a local authority before that for many, many years in the IT space. That was 2019, so that was pre-pandemic. And at that stage, I had very little awareness really of the remote working infrastructure, co-working infrastructure. Since then, over the last number of years, we've seen hubs. There was a number of funding calls during my time in working on this project from the Department of Rural and Community Development, and there was also funding calls from Department of Interest, Trade and Employment through Enterprise Ireland largely. And this has led to improvements in the infrastructure right around the country. So hubs now and co-working hubs, I'm going to use the term hubs as a broad sweep, if you like, for them all, broad term for them all. But I think the standards now in the hubs have really increased over the last number of years. hub managers are more and more aware of the expectations that the customers have when they come into them. And we are hearing a little bit of noise around back to the office at the moment. I think that's all very well and good. Maybe it suits some larger corporates that have large buildings that they want to see occupied. Or as we've seen last night on the news, it could be a play on maybe reducing numbers in some of those big corporates. But the SME sector is the backbone of Ireland, we all know that. And I think there's a talent war, if you like, at the moment. Talent attraction and talent retention are huge issues or areas for SMEs. And these co-working spaces, they are the third space. So you've got your remote working at home, you've got your HQ, your office in your town or city or wherever it happens to be, and these are the third space. And I think the SMEs identify those and build them into their talent attraction and retention policies. That's going to really, really help those companies to grow. Get down to the local hub, find out where it is first. Go down to connectedhubs.ie and search for the hubs and find the ones that are closest to you. And what I would say to them, if they're an SME or they're a startup or you're looking to, grow their business, be it satellite, I'd say this as well to city-based companies. If you're looking to open satellite offices, get in touch, pick up the phone, talk to the hub manager, and go down there and walk inside it. Because a lot of our hub managers say to us, if I can get someone through the door, I'll convert them to a customer. And it doesn't mean they're going to use it every day of every week or anything like it, but they'll become aware of it and they'll begin to use it more and more often. And that's huge for companies that are looking to expand, and maybe they're looking at the risk of taking on a heavy office lease. When you can go into one of these places and have a flexible arrangement there that will help you get your business to a place where they can then, at some day, at some option, or at some period in time, move on and take out a lease on a larger business when they have a solid footing underneath. The tourism one, it's happening already, and it's well established, especially down the west coast, and I'm sure it touches into Cork as well. But Clare, Kerry, Donegal, Mayo, all those, they experience huge footfall during the summer months and for the holiday season. But what we are seeing is that people are beginning to extend their holidays now and spend more time in those places. And they tend to be rural areas along our west coast, and that's bringing in additional revenue and additional spend into those local economies. So where maybe you were going down for a week back in the day or 2 weeks from Dublin, now you're seeing couples and families coming down and extending that out by a couple of weeks more, maybe, perhaps. And one of the couple may have to go and work, but now they're going to work in the local hub, and the other member of the family is off minding the children or whatever they're having to do, and hiking or whatever they're having to be doing. So that's happening. The digital nomad is an interesting one as well. I think there's an opportunity there for sure. We have a little project in the pipeline around that as well, so maybe more and on that. But there's definitely something in that. There's a lot of attention on the way Ireland has approached the hub network in Ireland. They're looking to replicate at European level. It's early stages yet, but we've had a number of different engagements, most notably with the Estonian government, the Scottish government, and now more recently with Údarás na Gaeltachta through a French provincial city. And they're looking at how the Connected Hubs network has been brought together. And we're not talking now about the platform there, we're talking about the hub managers, how they engage together, how they're sharing knowledge with each other, how they're helping each other to grow the sector and promote it and gain support from the key decision makers.